Hi everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. In today's video, we're going to find out if the massive buff Thea just received today in the new patch alongside the Karato Fox Hunter fusion, is it enough to change her from Thea the Vault Angel into Thea the, Archangel? The really good angel? Let's take a look and see. Before we do, I just want, again, shout out to Anchor Surge, who just a couple of minutes ago let me know about this. Still not in that content creator program. We're dreaming of it. But we do have a bunch of 10 times events happening over this weekend. So just for people who are watching this today, this is what's coming up. Friday, so that's tomorrow, there's going to be a 10 times event for Xavia from Ancient and Sacred Shards and Bellinor from Void Shards. On Saturday, it's going to be Cupidus from Ancient and Sacred and Venus from Void. On Sunday, Cecilia Flametongue from Ancient and Sacred, Cardial from Void, and then on Monday we've Rotos from Ancient and Sacred and Sifi from Void. This is going to be overlapping the Summon Rush event for this fusion. There's not going to be any 2 times chances or anything like that. Needless to say, these are all extremely good champions. I never recommend pulling Void Shards outside of it 2 times, unfortunately, unless you are certain that you are in your Mercy timer well into it with the Void Shards. And I do mean certain, not like I might be, I might not. You need to be certain. Likewise with the Ancient Shards, I probably wouldn't bother. Sacred Shards as well, but you're going to be pulling some Sacred Shards, right? You're going to be pulling some if you're going for the fusion, because you're going to want the rewards for the fusion, like whatever rare or epic champions happen to be in the Summon Rush. You might want to be grabbing those. I'll have a fusion guide out later when we actually see the full schedule of events. That's not out now. So you'll have to pull during one of these days, and you have to choose what to go for. I'd personally rate, I think these are all good. I'd probably skip Cupidus as probably the weakest one out of all of these. Xavia is insane for endgame speed farming with Poison Explosion teams. Cecilia is insane, I think, for Hydra. She's very good, and she's also top tier for spider farming. And then Rotos is top tier for arena and for some Doom Tower bosses, stuff like that. So it's up to you which to go for. I'd probably rank Rotos as number 1. Especially if this is the year of PvP. But yeah, it's stuff to consider, stuff to be aware of. Yeah, which day you're going to pull your sacreds on if you are going to be pulling them for the fusion. And there is going to be a 2 times sacred event the next weekend. So, don't go crazy pulling your sacreds. You're better off saving them for the 2 times. Probably. All right, so let's come back and let's talk about Thea then. What has gone on with her? What are the buffs? What are the changes? And why are they so huge? Number 1, a nice benefit, she now has an aura, ally attack in all battles by 30%. That's fantastic. You can bring her into a Hydra team with a good aura. In arena teams, right, if you're going up against a slower team, you could put your Arbiter into the back and put Thea in the lead to get a bit more damage out. That's pretty awesome. And for speed farming, in dungeons, she now brings a really relevant aura, right, because in a Thea speed team, you're going to be relying on that direct physical hit, and she's going to enable that, which is pretty cool. The other next big thing we have to mention, Hex Reaper now no longer removes hexes. Oh my goodness, this is such a great change. So number 1, not removing hexes. One of the combos we're going to be exploring in today's video is with Rule the Huntmaster, yeah? Rule applies Hex and AoE and gives himself 50% turn meter. And then he has Unleash the Hunt move, which does an extra hit, does double damage against enemies under Hex, ignores defense if there's enemies under Hex. So, something we could not do before was that Rule would come in, Rule would stalk prey, Thea would do her Hex Drinker attack, her Hex Reaper, excuse me, and then all the hexes would be gone, and Rule would come around to Unleash the Hunt and go, well, my Unleash the Hunt now sucks. This is bad. Now, though, he puts on all the hexes, Thea nukes the crap out of them with Hex Reaper, and then Rule comes in, and Rule gets the full value of Unleash the Hunt. This is a big deal. That's a really powerful combo that is now being unlocked if you completed that Rule fusion last year, or if you happen to pull Rule. This is pretty spicy. It's pretty good. Another really great advantage is against the Hydra. This is much better, right? So these are 2 hits at random to apply the hexes, or if you're running her with someone like Mithrala, if you have Mithrala already, it was kind of awkward. The Hex against the Head of Mischief, you're thinking, great, 5 turns of Hex on the Head of Mischief. I can now target him. I can break people free if they're eaten. I can strip off buffs from him with a single target attack, all that sort of stuff. But then Thea would come around in Hex Reaper and remove that Hex. You'd be going, Thea, why? Why would you Hex Reaper? This is such a bad idea. Now we can't target Head of Mischief, and he eats our ally. No longer going to be an issue. She's going to be putting up basically permanent hexes on the entire enemy Hydra very, very quickly into the match, especially with any counterattack or ally attack, and Hex Reaper won't rip them off. And also Hex Reaper every time now in Hydra is almost guaranteed, outside of Head of Decay cleansing, pretty much as you go through the fight, it's always going to be having 4 stacks of Hex, so 200% extra damage, basically guaranteed every single time, which is also huge. Then the final big change is that we have a cooldown off of Not of This World and off of Hex Reaper. This is actually massive as well, because seeing as Not of This World gives her an extra turn, it essentially means that these both now have a 3-turn cooldown, and we're going to see that this is one of the big benefits of running a Thea over Seer. This is something that she now has that Seer doesn't. Seer is stuck with a 4-turn cooldown on Karma Burn, which means that if you've got Prince Kymar, no problem. But if you are running with Renegade, Renegade only reduces cooldowns by 2 turns. This is not a problem now with Thea, right? Thea does Hex Reaper. Renegade resets 2 cooldowns off of it, and then Thea gives herself an extra turn with the Not of This World, and then she's right back into that Hex Reaper. So speed farming becomes much more doable, which is, we're going to explore some of that today, some builds in today's video that might work. But I think that's a pretty nice idea. Also, I'm going to switch to a blindingly white spreadsheet. Brace yourselves for brightness. I thought this is interesting. I did up a chart to show you what it looks like. This is what it looked like before. I'm slightly in the way, I think. Yeah, I'm slightly in the way. But, you know, on turn 1, she'd use Hex Reaper. Turn 2, Not of This World. It would take her 2 Befoulments to get back to Not of This World again, then into Hex Reaper. It took her basically 7 turns to get through a standard rotation. And then you can see that turns 8 to 14 here. Yeah, it's basically just a repeat. What does it look like now? With this cooldown reduction, it looks a lot different. Now it looks like this, right? So she's going to Hex Reaper, Not of This World. A single Befoulment, if both of the attacks crit, will get her back to Not of This World, which then gets her back to Hex Reaper on turn 3, right? So she can Hex Reaper, Not of This World Befoulment, and then she goes back into Hex Reaper on turn 3. That's a lot of burst damage right up front, and because she's not removing the hexes, this again works well. So for things like Faction Wars, potentially some Doom Tower, fights where they're going to go on a little bit longer, and she is going to go through multiple rotations of abilities, this is pretty cool. Even in Arena, you'd preferably kill them on the first Hex Reaper, but if you don't, there is a potential then on turn 3, much quicker to get back and to nuke them again. And yeah, she gets through her full set of rotations in 5 turns now, compared to 7 before. So she's getting through with Hex Reapers a lot faster, right? In the time it took her to do 3 Hex Reapers before, she's actually now going to get 4 out by 8 turns, which is a big DPS improvement, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, there we go. Let's jump into some teams, and let's see her in action. Actually, I'll show you how I've built her up. So I've built her up with decent Savage gear, not end game, but late game. We've got 5,600 attack. We've got low speed, 181. Oh, her base speed went up by 10, by the way. She now has 100 base speed fully ascended, which is nice. And you do want champions running pretty slow these days to avoid reaction in Arena, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Then she's got 238% crit damage. That's what I've got her in. And for masteries, we've got her running like this. So coming down this side, I do have her doing more damage to targets with Stun, Sleep, Fear, Freeze, or Petrification, because she actually puts fears on with her passive. And also I'm going to run her with a Sleep Champion in Arena. And yeah, pretty standard stuff. We're going to have Helm Smasher to ignore defense. Right, let me show you a team, and let's see what Thea can do. Okay, so the first team I want to show you is this one for speed farming level 20 potion keep. So this is for a bit of fun, right? This is for a bit of fun. And also, excuse me, I've had to record this a couple of times. I got like a cough. Something like stuck in my throat. COVID. No, I don't think so. But yeah, so excuse me if I do cough during this. We're just going to power through. I'll go away from the microphone, all the rest. I did say that Renegade could do the job here that Kymar can do. The issue that I ran into with this is that it actually is true, but my Renegade would have to be faster than Lydia, and my Renegade is not faster than Lydia, and I simply don't have enough silver to actually switch the gear there and back again for today's video. So we're just going to use Kymar, but a Renegade running at the same speed would do exactly this. Basically, Renegade needs to just be faster than Lydia to reset Lydia's cooldowns for wave number 2 for this particular comp. And yeah, this is how it's going to work. We're going to go in. Kymar wastes his first turn. We're going to have decreased defense and weaken from Lydia. Actually, Dracomorph or the Doom Tower dude would be better than this because they do more damage, right? But decreased defense and weaken. Then we're going to have Yoshi come in and increase attack. Again, you could use anyone here. Like, we could stick in Arbiter instead. I guess, you know, maybe Arbiter's more accessible, huh? Let's stick in an Arbiter. She may be more accessible than Yoshi. So let's switch them around. Take out Yoshi, put in Arbiter. There we go. Arbiter will do the job as well. Yeah, then he's going to Hex, and Thea's going to blow him up. I guess one issue here is that we're not going to reset Arbiter's ability. This will be interesting. So because Arbiter outspeeds Kymar, will it work? So we get the decreased defense and weaken. Hex comes out, and Thea, boom, one-shot the wave. There we go. Okay, he resets. Now this time we're not going to have increased attack on her, and decreased defense missed right there, but boom, Hex Reaper comes in, does most of the job anyway, and then Rule actually finishes them off. Rule actually more than finished them off because didn't even need the second hit that time around. So yeah, you can see this works reasonably well. We got a couple of hexes out here. Okay, cool. Let's do the run with Yoshi as well, so we can see the run with Yoshi too. But basically, even better than Ruel here, even better than Arbiter, is someone I don't have. And that's going to be true for a lot of these speed comps, but Mithrala Lifebane, the reward from Hydra, look at that hit on the boss. Mithrala Lifebane from Hydra is going to be the way to go. Mithrala does AoE Hex with a decent smacking hit, and she also puts increased attack and increased defense. So there we go, 1 minute, and we blasted through. Let me actually put Yoshi back in, and this team is going to work for every potion keep, except for Green, because she's the wrong affinity, and there is one enemy on this wave that she can weak hit, which would definitely throw things off. Let's put Yoshi back in. Yoshi is slower, so we'd get the increased attack on wave 2. So that's what's sort of going on there, right? That's what's going on there. So we come in. There we go. Decrease defense and weaken. Increase attack. Hex is out. And does she? Yep, there we go. Bam. One shots the wave. Reset. We get decreased defense and weaken. Miss one weaken. Will it be enough? Hex Reaper. Will it be enough? Yes, it will be. Let's actually target the boss and see if that changes anything. Might mess with their AI. I'm not sure. We go in again. She's put Hex on one person. All right. That's a little bit of a bummer. It means that Ruel's Unleash the Hunt is going to double hit the boss, but not the side ads. And they do actually debuff us a little bit. Hex Reaper comes out. Didn't hit that hard. Now we've got increased attack on. So I guess it didn't quite line up quite as well this time. But yeah, I think the interesting thing with the speed comp like this is that you can come into it, and when we have Mithrala in there, we could potentially not bring in Ruel, though Ruel, as you can see, smacks as well. 51 seconds. Yo, look at this for a speed team. This is like, and look at the damage from Thea. Whew. This is almost as quick as my seer team for potion keeps. That's pretty neat, right? Pretty cool. Let's look at Dragon's Lair now. So Dragon's Lair 25 in particular. Here we go. Let's go into this. And I was running the same sort of comp here. Now, this is where we run into an issue, which is we're going to be pretty slow killing that dragon because we have the same thing going on. You're going to have Lydia decrease defense and weaken. Arbiter's going to increase attack. We're going to put on AoE Hex. Thea nukes them. We kill the wave. We go on to wave 2. Where we run into an issue is that we don't have someone that can kill the boss very quickly. I'll show you another team that can potentially do this, but just imagine right here that we've got Lydia and this. We got a seer this time. Now we've got Mithrala Lifebane, who by the way also has poisons on her A1, so Mithrala could potentially just solo this dragon. And then we could even bring in someone like in a regen set, someone like Occult Brawler. Where is he? I took mine out. Unfortunately, mine is not level 60, so he's not tanky enough. But you put someone like Occult Brawler in there, right, who puts out poisons every time he takes a turn, yeah? And he puts poisons with his A1. Put him in a regen set, so he's nice and tanky. Build him quick and tanky, and he can just solo the dragon at the end. Let's see how this one goes. So this goes a little bit differently because Thea probably won't one-shot the wave, depending on your gear. So this is more gear dependent, but we get decreased defense and weaken. Hex goes out. Thea, boom, boom. Okay, and you see this time, this is where it becomes different. So this actually works, and in fact, this is where you'd be better off using Renegade. So if Renegade was the same speed there as Kymar, that time around, Renegade could reduce their cooldowns by 2 turns. And what's interesting about that is that it would not have reduced Rule's cooldown on the Hex enough for Rule to recast the Hex. So Rule would still have done Unleash the Hunt. Yeah. Now, if with Kymar, if Kymar had reset at that point, Rule would have just reapplied the Hex and we'd have wasted a turn. And the advantage of Renegade going right there, right, if Renegade was fast enough, Renegade would have reduced the cooldown of Arbiter, so Arbiter would be good to go again. You can see right here, Arbiter's not ready to go quite yet. So that's where we're going to lose some efficiency. Or if Kymar was faster than Arbiter, also would have worked. But here we go. Boom! The Hex Reaper. No increased attack. And look at that damage. Anyway, Rule comes in, absolutely slams, and we blast through. So I guess the timer is going to be a little bit off. You can imagine in your head, if I hadn't unautoed it, how fast we would have gone. But even with me pausing the timer and blabbing away, we still got to the dragon in about a minute, which isn't too bad. And yeah, for me, this is going to be a very easy team to make work when I go in with like a Mithrala instead of Arbiter, and switch out Rule for someone else. I think that could absolutely work. That could absolutely work. And yeah, one of the downsides of Arbiter, if I bring in like a Dracomorph and a Mithrala here, even with the same team, basically the idea would be that all the others would die and then leave Mithrala to solo the boss, basically keeping herself alive with her shield and applying poisons with her A1. Yeah, and increased defense and all that. I think that could totally work. So we're going to come through here, and you're going to see that this is where this run definitely slows down. It's because, well, yeah, they hit really hard, but they're not going to kill the boss as quickly as someone with poison soloing it. So it's not as fast as a seer comp. It's not as fast as a poison explosion comp, but the champions are much more accessible. Much more accessible. And look at the damage coming out from Thea. 4 million. Pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's become a much better option now. Okay, so this second run is to simulate what happens if we don't have a reviver and we don't have a reset either. This should be kind of interesting. So we don't have any Renegade resetting turns or anything like that, but we've got a Yoshi coming in, and we've got a Poisoner to try solo this boss as well. Okay, we're good here. We're actually good. So we didn't kill. That's important. We're going to miss the increased attack because he's not quite fast enough. But we got the decreased defense out. So Yoshi didn't get around to his increased attack again. That is unfortunate right there. And Thea's going to not Hex Reaper, actually. She's smart enough not to Hex Reaper right there. We get the increased attack now. There we go. We're coming back around. We got the True Fears from Yoshi as well, which do help. That's going to hurt a little bit. And boom, Thea smacks them with decreased attack. She almost one-shots them anyway. That's pretty good. All right. So this is sort of supposed to simulate a composition without Arbiter and without a Reviver. We'll see if it works. With Lydia, we might still be too tanky. I'm not sure. And because Uragrim is putting out heals as well, Uragrim's like mini Bad L. But the idea here, we got through in a minute again. Look at that. We smashed through in a minute. No reset needed. Just a shorter cooldown on Thea, and it's enough, right? And we're blasting through. We're onto the dragon now at this point. We're going to have some burns from Yoshi, and we're going to have poisons from Uragrim. And this is where Thea and Ruel being really squishy is actually a good thing. And this is where Dracomorph would be better than Lydia as well, right? Dracomorph will put out some poisons and then just die because he's bad affinity. But that's exactly what you want. We just leave Uragrim to solo the boss with his poisons alone. This poor dragon, he's not getting many hits in. Increased speed from Lydia, slowing us down a little bit as well. Bam, the hit comes in. We are still alive for now. Thea's probably going to be the first to die. I turned off Uragrim's cleanse. Uragrim has a single target cleanse. I don't want him to do it though. You can see that even her A1 hits really hard, right? Her A1 hits really hard. It's cutting through that dragon. It's pretty nice. And there we go. We're up to, it's like a 2-minute run right now. Unleash the Hunt. Does pretty good damage. There goes Thea. Thea's dead. That's fine. Yeah. Not bad, right? Not bad. One thing to note as well, my Ruel is not in Savage Gear. I keep calling him Ruel and Rule, and I'm sure that's really annoying some of you, so I'm very sorry. But he's not in Savage Gear. I just don't have enough Savage Gear on my account to manage all of that. So with Ruel in Savage, that might change things up as well. But we can see in this particular run, without the reset, Ruel's doing more damage because it's not all the Hex Reaper. But nonetheless, Thea's ripping through. We got through that in like 2 minutes 20. That's not bad, right? That is not bad. 2 guaranteed legendaries, 2 fusion legendaries from last year, and Uragrim. And again, Yoshi you can replace with other people. Yoshi's just in there for increased attack. The Mithrala is way better than Yoshi here. Way better than Yoshi. Yeah, you can do it. Arbiter works just fine. It might be a little bit slower because she takes more turns, but it works just fine. Yeah, there we go. So for Dragon's Lair, Is it a viable, like, endgame farming team? Yeah, I think it is. It definitely is. Okay, so we're going into Ice Golem Peak. This is level 25 Ice Golem, which is blue affinity. So it's a bad affinity for Ruel, but that shouldn't really matter. Look at the Hex Reaper from Thea. Almost one-shots this wave. That's so good. Boom, and then Ruel finished it off with crits. This is where Mithrala would be better, right? Mithrala is void, so no weak affinity. The issue is when we come into this wave right here. We'll see when we get there. We actually got away with it this time. So the problem, which we have somehow been lucky and not seen yet, might still happen. There we go. It's just happened. Seeker. Seeker is the problem. Seeker puts increased defense on himself if you crit him. And this is a big issue. Oh, Ruel died, by the way. Bye, Ruel. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem because it means that Thea is going to have a way harder time one-shotting the wave. Look, Hex Reaper comes out. It still hit hard, but it didn't hit hard enough. Like the Seeker there that didn't have, he basically didn't have decreased defense and weaken on him. And he procced his passive, so he healed himself and put increased defense. And she just can't hit through it. So I found this to be a big problem. This does not affect poison explosion compositions. And this does not affect seer, right? Because poison explosion is just poison damage. It's not affected by defense. Seer rips off their buffs. So it doesn't matter if they've got increased defense. For Thea, it does matter. Now, we're still going to get through, but it's not going to be quick. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. I might let this run out, but like, is this a good speed farm? Unfortunately, no. So I'm wondering if there's ways around it. Like if we brought in Mithrala instead of Yoshi and Ruel, so we got Mithrala in there. What if we brought in Ugo? Ugo's good affinity for this. Ugo does decreased defense and does block buffs as well. That might stop those Seekers from doing their thing. So that's a possibility. And then one issue that I run into with this team as well is that my Eurogrim is not quite geared enough. Doesn't have enough speed or health. So Eurogrim is almost definitely going to die. Eurogrim is not geared enough to solo Ice Golem 25. Can most of the time solo 24. Pretty good for 24, but not geared enough for 25. So that's another issue with this run. Obviously, if you've got Bad L in there, Bad L will be much better. Bad L gives you more damage as well, so it would really help you cut through those waves. And also, better than Lydia would be Dracomorph. The issue potentially with Lydia here is that Lydia is going to block Revive when he does his retaliation hit, and she's going to sit back up, and that might screw us a little bit. We shall see. But yeah, this is it. I think there's a potential here for doing some sort of Ice Golem solo, but I think it's got a lot more issues because of those Seekers in the wave. You could maybe solo a lower level of Ice Golem that doesn't have Seekers in the wave. That could work. But yeah, the increased defense Seeker, we're going to have to think up some comps to play around it. And I think you're going to be pretty reliant on Mithrala. Hey, would you look at that? He actually soloed it just fine. 3 minutes solo. Eurogrim getting it done. Good job, Eurogrim. Nice. So it worked. Would be better if we went in with Mithrala, Dracomorph, and yeah, maybe Ugo as well, or Umbral Enchantress even. There's options. There's definitely options. Yeah, we can see some theory crafting happening there. Right, guys, nubkeks here from the future. Well, in the past for you, the future for me. No. Anyway, I'm here. I'm editing the video. And I realized that it's actually way too long. It was going to be like 40 minutes total, which is too long, really. So I decided I'm going to split this up into 2 parts. This first part was the speedrunning in the dungeons with Thea. And the second part is going to be her in the arena. So check back for part 2, where we'll look at Thea in the arena. I'll probably put that out tomorrow because I want to put up a fusion guide today as well. So yeah, guys, thanks for that. She's good in the arena too. Spoiler warning, you're going to want to see that video. So I'll see you back for that one soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.